You're the Inquisitor. Mother never told me the Inquisitor was a mage.
That's not such a terrible thing, is it?
No, it would be worse. If you couldn't touch magic at all, like being blind.
Kieran, are you bothering the Inquisitor?
Of course not. Did you see what's on his hand, Mother?
I did see. 'Tis time to return to your studies, little man. My son. Never where you expect him to be, naturally.
I didn't know you had a son.
Why would you? I take great pains to not let my own reputation affect him in any way. To most in the Imperial Court, he's simply a quiet and well-spoken lad. Perhaps the heir of some distant family. But he goes where I go. Worry not, Inquisitor. Kieran is a curious boy, but seldom troublesome.
Will his father be joining us as well?
'Twould be most unlikely. I have raised Kieran on my own for quite some time now, as was my preference from the start. So 'tis but the two of us, Inquisitor. Your fortress is a large place, and you will scarce notice our presence.
He seems like a fine young man.
But not the sort one might expect a woman like me to raise. No son of mine would be raised in a marsh, bereft of contact with the outside world. His future will be difficult enough without my adding to his burden. To think, until recently this place stood decrepit, occupied only by the desperate and the lost. Now it is party to events that threaten to shake the world. I wonder if it is pleased.
It sounds like you've heard of Skyhold before.
This fortress was built upon the remains of a site holy to the ancient elves. They called it Tara Salan, the place where the sky is kept. It is said that from here, they reached up to the heavens to bring them down to rest. They abandoned it, as did the humans who came after them. Bones laid upon bones, silent until your arrival.
I like this place. I've made it mine.
The magic in this place has seeped into the stones, protecting it from darkness. Those who let it fall to ruin did not know what they possessed. You, I think, shall do it justice. You were kind to welcome my aid, Inquisitor, even knowing as little of me as you do. I will do my best to aid your cause with all the knowledge at my disposal. This I swear to you.
I appreciate whatever help you can give us.
Some might think Corypheus a madman for seeking godhood. Yet one must ask, what were the old gods? What secrets of theirs did the ancient magisters know? What I fear, what all should fear, is not that Corypheus believes he can succeed. 'Tis that he actually may. I understand you have spared the Grey Wardens from destroying what goodwill was left them. 'Tis good of you, considering the weakness Corypheus exploited was their own doing. Still, should a true archdemon one day arise, they will no doubt be needed. Or so they would have us believe. One thing which makes me curious, did you encounter the hero of Ferelden at Adamant Fortress?
Was the hero of Ferelden a friend of yours?
We traveled together during the time he fought the Blight. I helped him and he helped me. Without him, Kieran would never have been born. Regardless, did you see him?
I wish I had more to tell you, but no. I don't think so.
He's not the sort of man to fade into the background. If he was there, you would have known. When the champion of Kirkwall mentioned a Grey Warden ally, I assumed that ally would be he. It was, after all, just the sort of thing in which he would involve himself. But that rather begs the question, if the hero of Ferelden was not at Adamant, where is he? My suggestion? Track him down. He could be a great aid against Corypheus, or a terrible foe to the Inquisition.
You seem to know a great deal about elven law.
The Dalish are not the only ones interested in the distant past, Inquisitor. Indeed, my skills allow me access to places the Dalish dare not even dream of. The ancient elves hold secrets they have not yet given up. Secrets about the foundation of Thedas itself. Thus, they are my focus. Corypheus clearly feels the same.
I'd like to know more about you.
Ah yes, whence comes the mystery woman slinking her way into the Inquisition's ranks? Once I was an apostate, living well away from the banal influence of the Chantry in the Kokari Wilds. Then came the Fifth Blight with its darkspawn, and I left Ferelden for the Empress's court. 'Tis certain the nobles of Orlais breathe a collective sigh of relief that I am now here.
You were in Ferelden during the Blight.
The Blight began in the Kokari Wilds, so yes, I experienced it firsthand. Indeed, I fought at the hero of Ferelden's side for a time. He is the reason the Blight was defeated. In the end, what he did for me, I will always be grateful. And after that, I came to Orlais. The last place one would look for me, or such was my hope.
Tell me more about your son.
He is a very special young man.
Special in what way?
In every way. At first, Kieran was a means to an end. But as he grew, I never thought of myself as a mother, Inquisitor. I had no good example to follow. I find myself becoming something I can barely recognize.
The Orlesian court seems like an odd place to find someone like you.
That was the point, originally. I knew the Empress was intrigued by the arcane, and that I could answer questions no Chantry mage could. Thus, we fit together nicely. I became her advisor, and she my benefactor and source of refuge. Truth be told, our arrangement would not have lasted much longer. Too many wagging tongues, even for Celine.
It's odd that an apostate could live so openly.
It confuses those who expect apostates to cower and hide. I stand boldly before them and demand to know why I need some Chantry mage to teach me to control my power. They would put me on a leash so they can feel safer at night. I am uninterested in their comfort. Naturally, it helps to have friends in high places.
I'll leave you to the garden.
Of course. I imagine your forces will be heading into the Arbor Wilds very soon, Inquisitor. Trust me when I say that wherever the Alluvian is hidden, it is worth any effort to prevent Corypheus from acquiring it.
I'll leave you to the garden.
As you like.
Inquisitor, the soldiers say you banished the demons at Adamant and freed the Grey Warden mages. I understand from Sister Leliana that the truth is somewhat more complex, but no less extraordinary. She said that you spoke with a figure in the Fade that seemed to be the soul of divine Justinia. I suspect many of the faithful would like to know what Justinia told you.
She helped me remember what happened at the Conclave. The Maker didn't give me the mark on my hand. I was struck in battle. And Andraste didn't send me. The figure everyone saw was divine Justinia.
I'm so sorry. That must have come as quite a shock.
The Maker didn't need to send Andraste to me physically for me to be her herald.
I am glad to see your faith has not deserted you. You will need it in battles to come. It is wise that you do not let what happened in the Fade spread, however. Some would not understand. Now, is there anything I can help you with?
don't believe I've had the chance to speak candidly with a revered mother. Can you tell me about the Chantry?
I presume you mean deeper questions about the organization itself. Even in the circle at Ostwick, you should have been taught the basics.
There were calls for an exalted march to put down the Mage Rebellion. What was your opinion?
It was ignorant gossip. An exalted march only succeeds when it carries the will of the people. Even then, it cannot be undertaken lightly. People are too easily frightened. We cannot destroy everything they fear. An exalted march is justified only against a true threat to this whole world. It is an offense to the Maker to use it as a political bludgeon, or as a means of spreading the chant of light.
What about the exalted march that conquered the elves?
That is a hotly debated matter in some circles of the Chantry. The elves had conquered Montsemard and threatened Val Royeaux itself. They were not helpless victims. But even then, Orlais was the only nation to provide troops. It was hardly an exalted march of all the faithful. The Maker wishes his world to spread by example, not by war. We win no converts with blood.
What is your stance on magic?
Andraste put it simply. Magic must serve man, not rule over him. However, those words must be put into the proper historical context. Andraste led a rebellion against the Tevinter Imperium, whose magisters controlled most of the world at the time. Even then, she never called for all mages to be put to death. She believed in peaceful coexistence.
I don't recall the Chantry being as tolerant of magic as you describe.
No. The Chantry is an imperfect vessel, pulled in every direction by those who would steer its course. Yet the Templars rebelled precisely because divine Justinia was not restrictive enough. Perhaps the Inquisition will find a better way.
Why does the Chantry allow only human women to become priestesses?
The official doctrine is that elves and dwarves have turned further from the Maker than humanity. And as for men, the chant holds that they are more vulnerable to anger or passion. But in truth, it is simply political, added after Andraste's death, like too many of our beliefs.
If you don't believe these restrictions are what Andraste wanted, why haven't you tried to change them?
Has the current state of the world not taught you the folly of fighting too many battles at once? I chose to use what power I had to help peasants forgotten by the nobles of Orlais. I believed there would be time to address their inequality under the Chantry once we had saved them from starving.
Farewell, revered mother.
Be well, Inquisitor.
Another completed work of...
Inquisitor.
whatever they used to call him.
I appreciate the warning, but you shouldn't have come yourself. What if the guild found out, or... what's his name?
Are you worrying for me or for yourself?
A little of column A, a little of column B. I am the expendable one, after all.
Oh, don't worry, I'll protect you. We'll just have to... Well, this is a surprise. You're the Inquisitor, right? Bianca Davry, at your service.
Your name is Bianca.
It's a common name. Half the girls in the Merchants Guild are named Bianca. The other half are named Helga. I lucked out.
I take it you're a friend of Varric's.
Who isn't a friend of Varric's? You have met him before, right?
Any friend of Varric's is welcome here.
Be careful saying things like that. Some of his friends you don't want to meet. Oh, maybe you do. Who am I to judge?
Bianca's got a lead on where Corypheus got his red lyrium.
The site of Bartran's Folly, the tag Varric found, has been leaked. There's a Deep Roads entrance crawling with strange humans carting out red lyrium by the handful.
How do we know they're not using multiple entrances to get to the Tig?
Navigating the Deep Roads isn't like the surface. There's no accurate maps of the whole system, and there are cave-ins, darkspawn, lava floods. If you find a route that gets where you're going, you don't deviate. Trying to find another way could be deadly.
Who could have given away the Tig's location?
There were a few people who knew. Hirelings from the expedition, a couple of close friends.
How they found out isn't important. What matters is we know where they are now.
You can get there from Orlais. It's a long way to the free marches.
The deep roads are all connected. Or they used to be. Collapses and such, some of them on purpose.
They really are roads. They spanned the Dwarven Empire, went to every corner of the continent, maybe further. In theory, you can get to any Tig using the deep roads, but in practice, there's a reason nobody uses them anymore.
We need to deal with this. As long as he has this source, Corypheus is that much more powerful.
I couldn't agree more.
I'll keep an eye on their operation. If you're interested in shutting it down, you've got my help. Try not to leave me waiting too long, Varric. I've got my own work to do, you know.
Right. That's not going to be trouble at all. Let me know when you want to head to the entrance.
Is this a bad time? I can come back.
No, it's all right. Bills are really not that engrossing. I've been meaning to come talk to you anyhow. I never officially joined the Inquisition. I don't know how to do this, disciplehood thing. I'm a businessman. Never really followed a chosen one before.
I don't need a disciple. I need a friend.
If you knew how intimidating you are, you wouldn't make it sound so simple. You just don't know what you are to the people out there. The Herald of Andraste is a symbol bigger than any of us.
What am I to you, then?
None of this shit makes any sense to me. Is this the end of the world? Did Andraste send you through the breach? I have no idea. You heard the crowd singing after Haven was attacked?
Whatever I am to Thedas, I'm still just an ordinary person.
So, just a regular person, like anybody else. Right. I should probably get back to work. Unless, you up for a game of Wicked Grace?
Nothing to report, sir. Finally. I started to think you weren't coming.
Nobody said you had to hang out in the creepy cave while you waited.
Well, I did wait, so let's make this quick. These idiots are carrying the red lyrium out in unprotected containers. We don't want to stick around long enough for it to start talking to us.
Why would the containers need to be protected?
Lyrium is incredibly dangerous in its raw form. It can poison or kill dwarves, and we're resistant to it. Sometimes it just explodes. No warning.
Basically, only crazy people mine lyrium.
The mining cast doesn't just sling it into a bucket. It's carried in special containers that keep it under control. And that's normal lyrium. The red stuff is worse. I wouldn't be surprised if most of their miners die just digging it up.
You seem to know more about the effects of red lyrium than most.
Varric told me plenty about what it did to him. And his brother.
How did you find this operation in the first place? There must be hundreds of Deep Road's entrances.
I've used this entrance in the past. Varric's not the only surface dwarf to explore the Deep Roads. Oh, I've got to admit, I was pretty surprised when I came here and found it full of humans.
If you're coming with us, I hope you can handle a fight.
No, I thought I'd cower helplessly while you do all the work.
She's a decent shot.
Decent?
You want me to admit you're better than me? In front of the Inquisitor?
Let's not waste any more time, shall we? this is what you do now?
Beg pardon?
Skulking around in caves, shooting guys. Is this your day-to-day?
I usually try to avoid the caves.
You had me worried, you know.
What did I do now?
That letter you sent me about the Red Lyrium was the first I'd heard from you since the Chantry explosion.
Had it been that long?
Seriously, if you died in that mess, I'd have come back to Kirkwall and dug you up just to kick your ass.
What would you do if I'd been cremated?
Kick your ashes, of course. I built these doors. They probably shut this one from the other side when they heard the ruckus we were making. Ta-da!
You've been here often enough to renovate the cave.
You already know I've used this entrance in the past. I don't know if Eric's told you, but the Merchants Guild is cutthroat. Literally. I built the doors to keep rivals from following me down here and arranging accidents.
I guess it's a good thing you came along then.
I get that a lot. After you.
How is what's-his-name?
Bronson? He's in Navarra right now, selling my machine to wealthy landowners.
I heard some of the guild were trying to get you named a paragon for that contraption.
That's not gonna happen, even if I am 10 times the smith Bronca ever was. A surfacer paragon? Never. You know, this is almost fun. Kinda like old times.
I don't recall us ever shooting people together.
Remember crashing Bartran's guild dinner? We might as well have shot him.
This isn't nearly as dangerous as pissing off my brother.
There you are. We won't be able to use this entrance again.
Bianca.
You want to say something, Varric?
Andraste's ass, Bianca. You're the leak?
When I got the location, I went and had a look for myself. And I found the Red Lyrium, and I studied it.
You know what it does to people.
I was doing you a favor. You want to help your brother, don't you? I just wanted to figure it out.
How did you go from studying Red Lyrium to giving the location to Corypheus?
I found out that Red Lyrium... it has the Blight, Varric. Do you know what that means?
What? The two deadly things combined to form something super awful?
Lyrium is alive, or something like it. Blight doesn't infect minerals, only animals. I couldn't get any further on my own, so I looked for a Grey Warden mage. Blight and magical expertise in one, right? And I found this guy, Larius. He seemed really interested in helping my research. So I gave him a key.
Larius? He was the Grey Warden we met in Corypheus's... Oh, shit. I knew something seemed off.
I didn't realize until you said you found red lyrium at Haven. I came here and, well, then I went to you.
That name means something to you, Varric?
He was at the Grey Warden prison where we found Corypheus. And he definitely wasn't a mage before.
You had to know we'd figure out what happened, Bianca. Why did you insist on coming with us?
Varric told me what people were doing with the red lyrium. I had to help make this right.
You couldn't have known what would happen.
Mafarath's balls, she couldn't. I told her exactly how bad this shit was. I told her to keep away from it.
I know I screwed up, but we did fix it. It's as right as I can make it.
This isn't one of your machines. You can't just replace a part and make everything right.
No, but I can try, can't I? Or am I supposed to wallow in my mistakes forever, kicking myself, telling stories of what I should have done?
Ha! As if I would tell stories about my own mistakes.
What's done is done. There's no point arguing about it.
We've done all we can here. Bianca, you'd better get home before someone misses you.
Varric.
Don't worry about it.
Get him killed, and I'll feed you your own eyeballs, Inquisitor.
We need to seal that tunnel.
I'm glad to have answers, but... shit. The second she showed up here, I knew. I let this mess happen. I gave her the Tig. I am not good at dealing with shit like this.
I don't think anyone is equipped any better than you are.
No, the point is, I don't deal with things. If Cassandra hadn't dragged me here, I'd be in Kirkwall right now pretending none of this was happening.
You know that's not true. You've worked as hard as any of us to stop Corypheus.
Is that true? I don't even know anymore. Thank you for your help back there.
After all this, do you think you'll see Bianca again?
I always do.